I never believed in rules. Not spiritual ones, not superstitious ones, and definitely not the kind printed on a crumpled sheet of paper in a cheap apartment building. But that changed the day I moved into the old brick tower on 7th Street, because the building came with 5 rules. 5 unusual instructions. And the last one was the most important. Never look directly at the door of Unit 313 when you pass it. When the landlord handed me the page, he didn't smile. He didn't joke. He just stared at me with tired, sunken eyes. The rules were simple. 1. Ignore any knocking between 2 and 3 a.m. 2. Don't use the laundry room after midnight. 3. If the elevator stops between floors, keep your eyes down. 4. Never open your door if someone whispers your name through the peephole. 5. And again, never look at the door of Unit 313. No explanation, no humor, just fear behind his voice. I thought he was insane. I thought everyone in that building was insane. I was wrong. On my 3rd night, I heard it. Knocking. Soft, careful, almost polite. 3 slow taps. I glanced at the clock. 2:17 a.m. Exactly inside the forbidden hour. I lay still, breathing as quietly as I could. Another knock. Lighter this time. Like the person or thing behind the door was waiting for me to answer. Then it whispered, right through the cracks of the door. My name. Effin. That voice didn't sound human. It was too flat, too empty, like someone trying to imitate a person without understanding emotion. I stayed frozen until morning. When sunlight finally leaked into the room, I checked the hallway. There was nothing. But the carpet in front of my door was damp. Later that morning, I finally passed Unit 313. And even though I kept my eyes on the floor, like the rules demanded, I noticed things. Things no one should ignore. The door had no scratches, no dust, no signs that it had ever been touched, no peephole, no mail slot, no handle, just a perfectly smooth surface. Except for the black metal numbers that spelled 3-1-3. Every other door in the hallway looked old, but this one looked brand new and alive. I could feel the air change when I walked past it. Heavy, dense, electric. Something was behind that door. Something waiting. Inside the elevator, I met the old woman in the red coat. She stood in the corner, staring at the metal wall. "You're new here," she whispered, without looking at me. "Yes," I said. "What's with the rules?" She didn't answer immediately. Her lips trembled. Her eyes never shifted. Finally, she spoke. "Don't break them. Especially the last one." I swallowed. "What's in Unit 313? This time she turned toward me, her face pale, her voice barely breathing. "There is no Unit 313. The doors opened, and she stepped out without another word. 2 weeks later, I made my first mistake. I forgot rule number 2. I went to the laundry room after midnight. The basement was lit by a single flickering fluorescent tube, buzzing, humming, struggling to stay alive. I loaded my clothes, sat down, and waited. At 12:06 a.m., the lights went out for half a second. When they flicked back on, someone was sitting in the chair next to me. A man, soaking wet, facing the corner. He hadn't been there before. His clothes dripped onto the floor, forming a dark puddle beneath the chair. His head twitched, but he didn't look at me. I stepped back. "Sir, are you okay?" No answer. Then his voice cracked through the silence. Soft, brittle, broken. I couldn't understand the words, but I felt their weight. Behind him, something moved. A shadow. Tall, bent, crooked in a way no person should be. I ran. Every washing machine exploded into metallic screeching behind me. When I reached the stairs, the lights died again. Something breathed behind me. I didn't stop running until I reached my apartment. A month later, the elevator trapped me between the 5th and 6th floors. It was completely silent. Then a voice whispered through the old speaker above my head. "Eyes down." It wasn't mechanical. It wasn't human. But it was certain. I obeyed. Footsteps entered the elevator. I didn't see them. I didn't move. But I felt the air shift. I felt the cold brush of something enormous passing behind me. I felt thick liquid drip onto my neck. Blood. Or saliva. Or something worse. When the elevator moved again, the thing left. The security camera was dead for the entire night. One evening, I saw my landlord arguing with a tenant near 313. The tenant was furious. "Something's in there," he screamed. "You need to open it." "There is no 313, the landlord repeated. Again and again, his hands shaking. The tenant pointed directly at the door, and then he froze. His face turned white. His jaw dropped. His eyes widened as though something only he could see, stared back at him. Then he whispered, "It's looking at me." He stumbled backward, fell, crawled away like a terrified child, and ran down the stairs. He moved out the next day. That night, something changed. For the first time ever, I heard a sound coming from behind the door of Unit 313. Breathing. Wet. Slow. Hungry. I kept my eyes on the floor. Then I heard metal clicking. A handle forming. A doorknob didn't exist there before. But now, it twisted. Slowly. Like a creature flexing its fingers after a long sleep. And a voice, soft and polite, whispered, "Finally, you're ready to see me." I ran. Tonight, everything broke. The knocking came at 1:40 a.m. instead of after 2. The lights flickered in every room. Someone whispered my name, not from the hallway, but from inside my apartment. And the footsteps in the hall, slow, wet, deliberate, stopped outside my door. My lock turned, on its own. Click. Furniture shook as something pressed against my door. Something large, something patient. Then I heard it breathe, right into the cracks of the wood. The same voice from 313. "Open the door, Evan. You've looked for long enough. Now it's my turn." Something scratched the door and whispered, "I see you." The lights just went out. The handle is moving. Click, click, click. If this recording ends, don't come looking for me. And no matter what happens, never look at the door of Unit 313.